Hello, everybody, and welcome into episode number 346 of the Bible 2021 podcast. We are reading the 10th chapter of Revelation today, and our focus is on what does an angel look like, and will the events of Revelation happen quickly or slowly? So we do have a website I want to point you to. It's Bible2021.com. You can go there and subscribe to the show, which I would ask you to do. And as I often mention, every episode of the show has its written equivalent as a blog post in transcript form on that site. Our goal is to involve you in daily Bible intake and daily Bible understanding. And the way we do that is we read a passage every day and we talk about it. So deeper and deeper we go today into John's apocalypse, his revelation of what is to come. Today we're going to focus a bit on angels because one of the Bible's longest and most detailed passages that describes how an angel looks appears in Revelation 10. But first, let's talk a little bit about timing. How long will it take for the Lamb, Jesus, to open all 7 seals on the scroll? How long will it take for the angels to blow all 7 trumpets? How long will it take for the bowls to be poured out on the earth that we're going to read about soon? And to be clear, I am speaking of time in an earthly perspective, as in how long will this take from the perspective of those of us who are on earth? Of course, the book of Revelation is not going to exactly answer that question in the least, but I would argue that we have a clue to the timing of how long the last days is going to take in Revelation 10. Let's start in verse 5. Then the angel that I had seen standing on the sea and on the land raised his right hand to heaven. He swore by the one who lives forever and ever, who created heaven and what is in it, the earth and what is in it, and the sea and what is in it. There will no longer be a delay, but in the days when the 7th angel will blow his trumpet, then the mystery of God will be completed as he announced to his servants, the prophets. Well, actually, I see 2 clues here. First, the angel says there will no longer be a delay, and this seems to imply that there perhaps has been delay since the sounding of the 6th trumpet. Now, I'm being sort of vague about that because I know there are other interpretive possibilities for that phrase, but I see a second clue in the phrase at the beginning of verse 7, which says, in the days when the 7th angel will blow his trumpet. Now, this passage again seems to suggest that these judgments will not unfold instantaneously from our perspective, but will be played out over what might be an extended period of time. Now, there's nothing concrete here, but these clues do help us to see that the judgments of Revelation may not be instantaneous or quick. Well, second topic. If you could see an angel right now, what would that angel look like? We've talked before about how the angels don't have wings, but what do they look like? And when I say they don't have wings, that might be a bit of a surprise to you if you missed that episode or some of the episodes we've talked about in the past. Whereas the Bible describes cherubim as having wings, the Bible never mentions that an angel has wings, and the Bible never connects the dots to say that an angel and a cherubim are the same thing. So what do angels look like? Well, verse 1 of chapter 10 kind of gives us a pretty good description. It says, I saw another mighty angel coming down from heaven, wrapped in a cloud with a rainbow over his head. His face was like the sun. His legs were like pillars of fire. And you will immediately note that this description is very similar to the description of Jesus we talked about in Revelation 1, which said, the hair of his head was as white as wool. He was dressed in a robe with a golden sash wrapped around his chest. His eyes like a fiery flame. His feet were like bronze as is fired in a furnace. So it's very, very similar. And I would say this, a rainbow is also mentioned only 4 or so times in the Bible. In Genesis 9, after Noah and the flood. Here in Revelation 10, in the description of the angel, and in 2 descriptions of God, one in Ezekiel and one in Revelation chapter 4. So we kind of see a similarity in this particular mighty angel of Revelation 10, as well as the appearance of Jesus, the Son of God, as well as the appearance of God the Father himself. And now, like I said, that the Bible doesn't portray angels with wings, but some angels apparently can fly, including Gabriel, because Daniel 9:21 tells us that Gabriel came in swift flight to Daniel about the time of the evening sacrifice. In Revelation 14:6 says, I saw another angel flying through the sky, carrying the eternal good news to proclaim to the people who belong to this world. Now, flying doesn't necessarily mean you have to have wings, Superman being an example, a fictional example, but I still believe it is possible for a heavenly being to fly without wings. Angels might have wings, just noting the Bible never says they do, but does mention wings in a lot of other places. Now, I do think it is likely that angels can shift their appearance, like either by an illusion or something like that. Take Gabriel, for instance. In Luke 1, when Gabriel appears to Zechariah, Zechariah is like utterly shook and terrified. And so is Daniel in Daniel 8, verse 16. Like Daniel falls down and apparently appears to pass out. But Hebrews in the New Testament notes that some people have shown hospitality to angels, like unaware that they were angels, which would be difficult to do if you were struck with terror every time you saw an angel. So it seems reasonable to conclude that they can appear human from time to time, as both the books of Daniel and Zechariah indicate. Other than our Revelation 10 passage, I know of only one other somewhat detailed description of an angel in the Bible, noting that passages like Daniel 10 and Ezekiel 8 describe heavenly beings that are not directly called angels and could be a description of the pre-incarnate Jesus, and that is found in the resurrection account of Matthew. Matthew 28, 1-4 says, After the Sabbath, on the first day of the week was dawning, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to view the tomb. There was a violent earthquake, because an angel of the Lord descended from heaven and approached the tomb. He rolled back the stone and was sitting on it, and his appearance was like lightning, and his clothing was as white as snow. The guards were so shaken by fear of him that they became like dead men. Now, we see brightness here, extreme brightness, and the ability to terrify. And then Revelation 15, verse 6 says, Out of the temple came the 7 angels with the 7 plagues, dressed in pure bright linen, with golden sashes wrapped around their chests. So it's kind of surprising that as many times as angels are mentioned in the Bible, we really get very sparse details about how they look. We get a couple of descriptions of their clothing, bright white with those sashes, maybe fiery legs, an overwhelmingly sort of bright appearance that's similar to the sun or lightning, and not really much more than that. Now, I myself have never seen an angel before, and I doubt very much I could draw a credible picture of one given the description we have in the Bible, but I would virtually guarantee that all of our pop culture depictions of angels as strong-looking humans with big bird-style wings and feathers are really probably way off of the exact appearance. But you know what? What do I know? I suspect that an angel is a being that we don't know how to accurately describe, but I bet we would know as soon as we laid eyes on him that we were looking at an angel. Well, let's go ahead and read our passage. It's Revelation chapter 10, verse 1 in the Christian Standard Bible. Then I saw another mighty angel coming down from heaven, wrapped in a cloud with a rainbow over his head. His face was like the sun, his legs were like pillars of fire, and he held a little scroll opened in his hand. He put his right foot on the sea, his left on the land, and he called out with a loud voice like a roaring lion. When he cried out, the 7 thunders raised their voices, and when the 7 thunders spoke, I was about to write, but I heard a voice from heaven saying, Seal up what the 7 thunders said, and do not write it down. Then the angel that I had seen standing on the sea and on the land, raised his right hand to heaven. He swore by the one who lives forever and ever, who created heaven and what is in it, the earth and what is in it, and the sea and what is in it. There will no longer be a delay, but in the days when the 7th angel will blow his trumpet, then the mystery of God will be completed, as he announced to his servants the prophets. Then the voice that I heard from heaven spoke to me again and said, Go, take the scroll that lies open in the hand of the angel who is standing on the sea and on the land. So I went to the angel and asked him to give me the little scroll, and he said to me, Take and eat it. It will be bitter in your stomach, but it will be as sweet as honey in your mouth. Then I took the little scroll from the angel's hand and ate it. It was as sweet as honey in my mouth, but when I ate it, my stomach became bitter. And they said to me, you must prophesy again about many peoples, nations, languages, and kings. Amen. Well, let's close out with our Bible memory passage for the month of December. Maybe we can say it together. Revelation 5:12. They said with a loud voice, "Worthy is the Lamb who was slaughtered to receive power and riches and wisdom and strength and honor and glory and blessing." Amen. Good day to you, friends, and Godspeed.